All right, who's all coming up?
Dan, you stay in the main box because I am sick as a dog right now.
Huh?
You stay in the main box because I am sick as a dog right now. This is Roman's mom, Maria. I'm so sick right now.
Do you want to keep it going, or do you want
No, I want to keep it going because we have a lot of people who are gonna join.
to?
But you stay in the main box though, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Mandy. There's Terry. Dan.
I see Terry.
Hey guys, just got home.
Can you share this out to Aaliyah
Yeah.
and Munchie?
Everybody.
Now, for those who are in here, power tap that screen and share it out. Jay, it will be recapped. Just give it a minute. We got over 400 people in here. Taps and shares are what's important right now, guys.
Go to this one page and see if you can see it. Facebook.
Let me turn off guest requests so it doesn't keep and I'll just bring up whoever needs to come up.
Maria, are you running a fever?
I was earlier. I broke it.
Oh no.
You might need to go to the hospital.
Yeah. I have bronchitis. I have bronchitis.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've already gone. I have bronchitis.
Hey guys.
Okay, Kylie, I'll take a look at it. I've seen that be the reason. I'll take a look at it. All right, so the only one we're missing right now is Aaliyah.
Hey Terry. Hi Maria.
Hey, tap the screen, share the live, everybody.
Hello Dan.
Hello. Don't tell me you're sick too.
Oh no. I've just been really emotional. Okay. I'm gonna share this out.
Tap that screen and share this out. We can get more than what we have shared out. We need a lot of people on this.
So, Angel, this is about Roman. Maria up top box is the mother of Roman. This was originally scheduled to be on Nina's account, but as most of you already know, we did lose Nina, so we brought it over here so she can still get the word out about her son.
Are we texting myself?
Or Maria.
I know. I thought I was getting better.
Oh man.
Any yesterday?
Huh?
Get any rest at all yesterday?
I did sporadically throughout the night because my fever would come up and then it would break. And then it would come up and then it would break. And
Maybe get you to get some rest yesterday.
no, I did. But like once my fever would come on, I'd wake up. I started burning up.
That's
So
the worst part is that fever stuff.
yeah, so I've been sterilizing my hands and everything.
Well, geez, Discord's a little slow. It finally just shared it to all of my Discord servers.
So it's running off of the Justice for Roman Robles Facebook page also, Dan. Your life. Yeah. We didn't want to do the search and rescue today because we don't want to take away from anybody posting about Nina or, the donations and everything. We want that to stay focused on Nina for now.
Okay, so that account's not coming in?
What, the search and rescue?
Yeah.
No, it's the Justice for Roman Robles page.
Okay.
Because I had messaged Aaliyah, but I didn't hear back from her. So I just decided that everything should stay focused on Nina for the search and rescue.
Okay. No, that works.
Next week sometime we'll probably be back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Dan's live is running off of the is being shared onto the Justice for Roman Robles Facebook page right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, which one of you young ladies would like to explain what is going on?
We let Roman's mom tell the story so we don't miss any details.
Okay. We'll wait till exactly 5 o'clock. We have like 2 minutes. Let more people get in here.
Unless I'm doing something wrong.
On Justice for Roman Robles Facebook page?
Yeah, it just shows a picture of Roman.
Well, yeah, it's live though. It's live. They can hear us. Can you hear us, Munchie? On there?
Hang on. I'm checking. Oh, I have my sound down. Duh. Okay. Yes. Okay, I can hear it.
Yeah, so we have the Romans background picture up.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't get the what do we need, that tag? The tag? We need a stream key for TikTok. We had the stream key for YouTube and Facebook, but not a stream key for TikTok. So the only thing we can do is we can connect Dan's live to the Justice for Roman Robles page, but you can only hear it's only Roman's picture, and then you can hear everything. We can't stream it until we get the stream key for TikTok.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we were trying to figure that out. But at least everybody can hear us.
Yeah. Yeah. We got 1 more minute, guys.
Now, is there anybody else you need to come up?
No, I'm looking for my niece Marissa. Did you message her? Because she's usually the one that answers the questions in the chat. Her, my niece Victoria, but I don't see them in here yet.
Okay.
Everybody, if you can tap share, please. Thank you.
What mods are in here right now, guys?
And then all of a sudden today in Arizona, it just wants to be like 80 degrees outside.
It's hot.
It's so hot over here right now. I hate being sick when it's hot.
I know. I had to turn the air conditioning on.
Alright, so only one mod is in here.
Hi, Angel. And hello to everybody else that said hi to me.
All right.
Alright. Let me get to my Discord.
Okay. And I apologize for the way I sound, everybody. I'm under the weather right now, so let me know if you can't understand me. I'm a mouth breather today.
Hi, Judy. Hi, Twisted. Hello, India. Hey, Nancy.
Hey, Angel.
Hello, Mia. Hello, Be Beautiful. I'm just going to say, hi, Mandy. Devin. Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
Alright.
Did anybody share it out to Steven? I forgot to share it out to Steven.
Stephen Crabtree?
Yes.
Let's bombard him.
Alright, I texted him.
Okay.
He probably just got a ton of shares in his TikTok messages. Be like, all right, all right.
Right. All right. Are we ready? You want to wait a couple more minutes?
My mods are rolling in right now.
Okay. So you're gonna have you're gonna have Mark Robles, Manuel Robles, Yvonne, Nico. They don't have pictures, and I tried explaining them about the pictures, but please don't block them because that is what.
No, so I don't do it that way. The only way we block somebody is if they start being disrespectful.
Okay.
So we don't block them for not having profile pictures.
Okay. All right. Has Leah made it into the chat yet?
I don't know. I can't see.
I'm here. I will be right back in 2 minutes.
Okay. Hey, full of hearts.
Ready? Tap that screen and share the live, please.
Listen, vitamin C, vitamin D3, them are your best friends this time of year.
I know. I know. Oh, search and rescue. Leah's in here. Leah just popped in. Search and
Want to
rescue.
get in the
Send.
box, Leah?
Bring her up.
Where is she at? She'll have to make a comment so I can see her.
Can you comment, please, Tommy?
Or request a box, Leah.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Just let us know when you get back.
I remember those days. Remember that, Terry? I used to be driving to work and I'd have I'd be on the live with you guys. All right, Dan, you let me know when you're ready, Dan.
Whenever you guys are. This is your guys' live. We'll just monitor the chat, make sure people stay respectful.
Coming up.
She's driving.
Bass and everything right now.
Leah's driving home. When she gets home, she'll request a box.
Okay, Marie, you want to go ahead and start? Thank you guys, all of you guys, for coming in. If you'll
Is,
continue to tap the screen and share the live.
is Munchie back yet? Is Munchie back yet or no?
Probably not.
I don't know. But we don't lose what we do have in here.
Okay. So, hey Jake. So I am Maria. I am Roman Robles' mother. On March 1st of 2024, my son was unalived. He was 22 years old. And hold on, Dan. Hold on. The live stream on Justice for Roman Robles went down. Hold on. Okay. So what happened was, like I was saying, March 1st, 2024, my son was unalived here at our house. He was 22 years old. He was an amazing person, amazing individual. Loved life, had everything going for him. Unfortunately, he met the wrong person. So that day, we had decided we were going to go out to eat with my sister and Roman's ex-girlfriend's stepmom, because we had liked the stepmom. And and that was on a Friday. So Roman worked at Lucid Motors, and if you called out on a Friday, you automatically got Saturday and Sunday off. And he said, Mom, ex-girlfriend picked up the baby, and I'll explain all this. I'm just going to tell you about that Friday. Ex-girlfriend picked up the baby. I'm going to call out because I had plans with brother and Marissa for Saturday, and I had plans with brother on Sunday. I said, okay, baby. He said, I'm going to move my Xbox to the living room and just chill in the living room and, enjoy my day off. I said, okay, baby. Before that, we were planning of his son, at the time of what we thought was his son's first birthday party. And everything was fine. And then we left. Me and my daughter left. And we were gone for maybe an hour and a half. And in that hour and a half, my son was murdered. So let's go back to November, Thanksgiving of 2023. 2 days prior to Thanksgiving, my son was like, hey, Mom. I was like, what, baby? He said, do you mind if I bring a friend over for Thanksgiving breakfast? Because I've never believed that my kids have to wait till lunch or dinner. So I've always made them breakfast. I've always cooked overnight, and when they wake up, the food was ready for them in the morning. And I said, sure, you can bring a friend over. So Thanksgiving morning, me and my daughter are finishing everything up. Family's already here. My son Mark's in the kitchen with us. And then he says Rome, because he called Roman Rome. He was like, Mom, Rome just pulled up. I said, oh, okay. He said, I'm going to go help him. I was like, all right. Well, then my son Mark walks back in the house. He was like, Mom. I was like, well, he's like, Rome brought a girl. And for Roman, that was big time because he just didn't bring anybody to meet his mama. Not just anybody was good enough to bring home to his mama. So I was like, oh, okay. So she walks in and she's carrying a newborn in a car seat. And I'm like shocked. and my daughter was like, she has a baby. And I turn around and I look, and there she is, this young girl standing there in my kitchen with a baby, a newborn. And my son Roman standing behind her smiling. To know Roman was very private. He wasn't a bragger or anything like that. So I look at her and she says, "Hi, I'm so and so." And we won't be naming off any of these people. We'll call them so and so. She's like, "I'm so and so." I was like, "Well, nice to meet you." She goes, "And this is my son, so and so." And I'm trying to look at this baby, because I'm thinking to myself, if this is my son's child that he didn't tell us about, that he gonna have a baby and not tell us, and so I'm following her to the living room, and I'm trying to look at the baby because when Roman was born, he was born with milky white skin, light brown wavy hair, and blue gray eyes. And this baby was milky white skin, brown hair, the straight, and blue eyes. And I'm trying to see this child, and she notices it, and I didn't know what to say. The first thing that came to mind was, he looks like one of the Who people from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I didn't know what to say, and so she just laughed and she sat down, and she just made herself at home. Well, then I was still in shock that there's this newborn with this girl in my living room. We've never seen this girl. I have no idea who she is. And they stood here for like 2 hours. And then Roman says, "Hey, Mom, we're going to go visit her family now," which was really weird because that's not something Roman usually does, but like I said, he was very private. And I was like, okay. And so me and my daughter and my son Mark, we were like, did Roman go have a baby and didn't tell us about it? Like, what is going on? So when Roman came back home later on that evening, we started questioning him, like, who's this baby? Who's this girl? And he was just like, "She's my friend, blah, blah, blah." And I asked him, I was like, "Is that your baby?" He was like, "No, Mom." I said, "Are you sure, Roman? You could tell me. I won't be mad." He was just like, "No, Mom, it's not my baby. It's not my baby." I said, "Are you sure, Roman?" He said, "Yes, Mom, it's not my baby." And I said, "Okay, son, I'm going to believe you." Because Roman wasn't a liar. Roman was not a liar. He's very honest. Anybody that knew Roman would tell you that he was very honest. And so then they, that was in November. Come December, he tells us that, the baby is his, and that they did a home DNA test and that the baby was his. And so we were just like, "What?" And he was just like, "The baby is mine." Chloe, stop. I'm so sorry, everybody. And so we're like, okay, so this is our grandchild, So we accepted the baby. We accepted her. And then she started telling us about her father. This is in December, right before Christmas. She's telling us about her dad, that he's a narcissist, he's very controlling, they don't get along, and that he didn't like the fact that her and Roman were together. And so we're just like, okay, and she says that, he's starting to make threats and stuff. I'm like, "Well, what kind of threats?" She's like, "He's just, like not letting me, I can't bring the baby over here to see you guys or anything like that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Well, then Christmas came. He didn't let her bring the baby. Roman was upset. Roman had to jump through hoops just to be able to see her and the baby. And it was becoming a lot. And she was telling us in January she was looking forward to starting the school season and going to the nursery program. So I was like, wow, they really have their, she really has her life together, I was proud of her. And I was like, well, that's good. And she's like, yeah, he asked me if I could watch the baby and stuff. I said, of course I would watch the baby. Well, then something happened. Her and her dad got into it. It was a big old fight. Roman goes, "Mom, I know it's not ideal." He's like, "But can't she come stay with us? Can her and the baby come stay with us?" I never wanted to bring my family to live at my mom's house, but until I find a house to buy, this is what I want to do. And I was like, well, fine, of course, son. So she moves in with us and everything. And the dad is, losing his crap and upset, and he acted more like a jealous ex-boyfriend than he did, an overprotective father or overprotective grandfather, and so Roman was on the birth certificate. The baby was given Roman's, last name. The baby's name is the baby's name, and then after his dad, Mark, and then Robles. I won't say the baby's first name. And is it not Lenny? It's Lenny. And so then that happened, and oh God, start telling us to watch our cameras because her dad was part of a certain club, and that he was going to start sending his people over to my house. He was threatening Roman through her. So it got to the point where me and my daughter, we would follow Roman to work because Roman worked nights, and then I would go and follow him home, from work, and I would look at my cameras and there was nothing, but apparently this father hated me, and it was just a lot. It was a lot. So then, come January, they're already living here. She was supposed to start school. She went to school her first day and quit by the second or third day. She was done. She wasn't going to school anymore. She didn't want to finish school. She didn't want to do anything. She just wanted to be home. And she wouldn't even take care of the baby. She would. Like I said, Roman worked nights, and so Roman, when he got up in the morning, he'd shower and get ready for work, and then he was the one giving the baby a bath and feeding the baby and changing the baby, and she's just sitting in the room. She's just not doing anything with her life. And I started noticing that she has a few issues. And I told Roman, something's not right, son. We have to reach out to her family. We got to find out what's going on because all we have is her side of the story. He was just like, okay. She had told Roman like a lot of things. She had told Roman that she was molested and she was raped and just a bunch of things. And of course Roman felt for her, and Roman had a good heart. And so I reached out to her stepmom. I called her stepmom at work. Her stepmom was really nice, and we talked for about a good 45 minutes. And then she asked me if she could give her husband my number, and I said, of course. So her dad is a first responder, but he worked out of town. And he calls me. I tell him what's going on. He jumps in his car, drives like 2.5 hours back into the town where we live, and wants to meet, And Roman and I, we go to meet him. Sit down, we're talking to him. We're getting his side of the story. Of course, his side versus her side, they're just not matching up. All we know is what we see. So then he asked us if we could do an intervention. He felt like his daughter really needed help. Of course, this is the mother of Roman's child. So we have an intervention. It's the dad, the stepmom, me, Roman, and her mom. Well, it was at her dad's house. We left the baby with my daughter, Desiree. And we go over there. And couldn't find out everything she told Roman was a lie. She lied. She wasn't molested. She wasn't raped. The only reason why she said she was raped is because she got mad at the guy and made accusations of her being raped. When they found out that it wasn't true, according to the father, and I've already said multiple times on all the other lives we've done, I will take a lie detector test. She, according to the father, they took her to the hospital. Turned out, they were gonna do a rape kit and everything. The cops were obviously called. Turned out he did not rape her. She just said that. So then the dad, being a first responder and having connections in this town, according to him, he used his connections to have his daughter not charged for false allegations of rape. And it turns out that the sergeant that made that happen is the sergeant who has kept my son's case closed under him unaliving himself. It stated that he unalived himself, which has been proven that there's no way he could have done that. And so that was that. And hold on for 1 second. Hold on for 1 second. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. Sorry. Um, so we have this intervention going, and this intervention we were there for 5 hours. Roman really wanted to get her help. Roman looks at her and tells her, "You played me. You made me look like a fool. I believed everything you said, and you lied about everything." And she's crying. She's hysterical because Roman's like, "I'm done with you. I don't want to be with you no more. We can co-parent for the baby, but that's about it." The stepmom asks her, "Do you even want to be a mother?" And she's like, "Well, yeah." She's like, "Then why do you keep doing this?" Because I guess she's done this. This has been the daughter's ammo over and over again. And so she ends up moving back with her dad, leaves the baby with Roman, okay? Leaves the baby with Roman. There's no court order at this time. That day, Roman became a single parent, raising his son on his own. Of course, I supported him and his sister helped out. But all that girl had to do was pick up the baby on a Friday. One Friday, one day out of the week. She couldn't even do that. The only time she would come to spend time or pick up the babies when she knew Roman was around. Because it was all about Roman. Roman. And Roman was trying to do whatever he could to have everybody get along. Us, with her parents, with her, and her mom and her mom's husband, Roman was trying to be the mediator between everybody. So, like I said, overnight Roman became a single parent. And he was fine with that. He took care of everything the baby needed, all the baby's needs. He took care of. During that intervention, her dad did tell her that he was worried that what she accused that other boy of because he didn't want to be with her, she would turn around and do to Roman. So her dad recorded that whole 5 hours that we were in his house on his whole indoor home security system. That whole thing was recorded. Her mom was making excuses for her. I don't know what kind of mother makes excuses for a sociopath, but that's what she is. She's a sociopath, and so, like I said, Roman became a single parent. So the daughter, the ex-girlfriend, had to just pick up the baby on a Friday. That was her day. She couldn't even do that. The dad would get the baby Saturday, keep the baby overnight, and sometimes bring the baby back on Sunday, or Roman would pick up the baby on Monday mornings. So there was a schedule. We had a schedule. The mom started getting help to see a therapist and a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And, Roman had told me, he was like, Mom, he was like, the baby needs his mother. I said, okay. He said, as long as she continues to get help, then she can get more and more time with the baby. But she has to start spending time with the baby because when she wouldn't come for the babies on Fridays, Roman would call her. Roman would be like, why didn't you pick up the baby? Why does my mom still have the baby? And she was like, oh, well, he was asleep. Well, how would she know? She never showed up. So Roman was just like, I need to get a lawyer involved, Mom. I was like, okay. He's like, I want to do 50-50 custody with her. I will continue to have physical custody of the baby, and as long as she continues to get better and better and better, Mom, her visitations can become more and more and more. I said, okay, so I pay the retainer fee. Roman had an appointment with his lawyer March 4th at 9:30 in the morning. Well, the father didn't like this. Her father did not like this because he wanted Roman to strip her of her parental rights. He wanted her to have no rights to the baby. Well, in the state of Arizona, until the baby reaches a year old, both parents have physical rights to the baby. If when the baby turns a year old, parental removal rights will be looked at if that's in the best interest of the child. So Roman was like, no, I'm not going to do that to her. Well, the reason why Roman became such a threat to this father is because this father had already got his lawyers involved to remove the baby from his daughter's care. But once Roman, being the father, came into the picture, signed the birth certificate, and the baby had Roman's name, the father could no longer do that because there was another parent involved. And he was pissed. He even started threatening my son. He started telling and how we found this out was because the stepmom, who we liked, she would always warn us when her husband was gonna pull some shit on my son. She told us that her husband was talking to the lawyers about possibly having Roman charged with falsifying a document. The falsified document was the birth certificate because he signed the birth certificate. And he was saying that Roman was going to have to serve 12 years in prison and pay a $10,000 fine. We're like, no. So when we spoke to Roman's dad was just like, hell no. We'll lawyer our son up and we have to go after this guy. So it became that. And it was just always issue after issue with the dad. It was always an issue. And like I said, Roman worked nights. So he would blow up Roman's phone. He would call or text Roman back to back 20 plus times. And he would be like, you need to answer this phone right now, young man. Do you know who I am? Blah, 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 blah. Roman's asleep. Roman just put his ringer on off. He's asleep because he has to work nights. But this man, because he could not control my son, and my son stood up to him, he didn't like that. So the daughter ends up moving out of her dad's house and into her mom's trailer. Well, the father, her father, didn't want the baby going and visiting at his ex-wife's house because he said there was black mold growing there and it wasn't good for the baby. And in his line of work, being a first responder, he knew he could have that done. He can have her home condemned for black mold. So it just became issue after issue after issue, And so Roman was like, Mom. I was like, what? He goes, I'm going to tell you something. I was like, what? And he's like, and don't get mad. I was like, what is it, Roman? He goes, I'm going to rent a house for 3 months. So this way, the baby's mom, and her stepdad could live in that house and she can have visitation with the baby. And the dad, the biological dad, her biological father, could not go and have the house condemned, that they would have somewhere to live and she would have her time with the baby. And I was like, Roman, that's not your responsibility, Roman. These are grown adults. They can do this on their own, Roman. He was like, Mom, he was like, you know what? He was like, when you and Dad always supported each other, you and Dad always got along, you and Dad, if you needed something, Dad was there for you. Even when you guys weren't together, if Dad needed something, you were there for Dad. He goes, I'm trying to have a co-parenting relationship with her the way you and Dad had a co-parenting relationship. And I said, okay. You're a grown man, Roman. You know what's best for you. He's like, this will help out my son, Mom. And I was like, okay. He's like, I just want my son to grow up happy. He goes, and the baby needs his mom. I said, okay, Roman. So Roman had already started looking at houses to lease out for these people. He goes, Mom, I'm going to pay the rent for 3 months. And then that gives them 3 months to figure out their finances and be able to start paying the rent for themselves. I said, okay, Roman. If that's what you want to do, son, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to do. I'll support you in it. He's like, okay. So Roman, obviously, this baby came into our lives at 3 months old. I don't know if I mentioned that, but the baby was 3 months old when the baby came into our lives. So Roman missed out like on the baby shower and everything. So Roman wanted a baby shower. He wanted his son, wanted to experience everything. So we started planning a baby shower. We had already sent out the invitations for March 9th. Family from California and Texas was gonna come, for Roman's baby shower. And Roman knew that he was all his son had as far as stability was concerned. And so Roman has his appointment with the lawyer March 4th for 50-50 custody, and then he's having his baby shower March 9th. Well, the mom of all times actually came that Friday, March 1st. She actually showed up to pick up the baby March 1st. And she picked up the baby and everything, and we were surprised. And Roman, he felt like he had a free day, and that earlier that day, Roman had just bought like $145 of baby supplies from Walmart. They were still sitting here on the table. I had an extra bedroom that I used to use as a walk-in closet. I pulled everything out of there, and Roman turned it into a nursery. And Roman was a good father. Roman was an amazing father. And then March 1st happened. So that morning, he's kicking back, and the stepdad's her dad's trying to call Roman. Roman doesn't want to talk to him, so the stepmom calls Roman. Hold on one second, I got a cough. Sorry about that. Roman talks to his stepmom, and the stepmom tells Roman about how the baby's mom was texting her son, who's around the ex-girlfriend's age, telling him how in love she was with him, and he was like grossed out by it. So he told his mom, and she has sent some like nudes of herself out to all these older men, and one of the men told her she needed to stop, and she didn't stop. So that man ended up pressing charges against her. So there, the dad pulling strings again to get charges dropped against his daughter with the same sergeant, and that's according to the dad. And Roman was just like shaking his head, and he was in so much disbelief, So that was that, and that was March 1st. The week prior to March 1st was a Friday, and the girl's dad kept calling me, trying to get me to take his wife out for a girls' night. Well, I don't go out. I don't drink very much, and I don't go out. So I was like, I don't understand why he wants me to take his wife out. And it was on a Friday. He was saying, well, she hasn't had a Friday off, it'd be good for her to get out, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to, And for Christmas, I was still trying to make peace with these people. I bought them a Christmas card and gave them $100 gift card to go eat at the Outback Steakhouse. I said, have you guys used that card I gave you for Outback? He said, no. I said, why don't you take your wife out to dinner, spend some time with her? He said, that's a good idea. So that covered that Friday. The following week, which was Friday, March 1st, February 29th, he's like, my wife really needs to get out. She has another Friday off, blah, 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 blah. She's the ladies' night out. Maybe you should take her out for drinks, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, why do you need me to take your wife out, But I didn't really think anything of it, And I was just like, I don't know. And then Rome was like, Mom, go. You know, Desiree was like, yeah, Mom, go. Let's just get out. You know, you don't ever do anything. It's not going to hurt to go out to dinner, Mom. I was like, okay. So, we told the stepmom, yeah, we can go. We told her we'd meet her at Anaya's. It was me, Desiree, my sister Sophia, and the stepmom. We'll meet her at Anaya's Mexican restaurant, and which is over there by where they live. And she said, okay. So then we were supposed to meet her at 6:45. Right before we left, that Friday, Roma's in the living room. We're talking. Like I said, we were trying to plan out the baby's first birthday, which was going to be in August. I know March and August are a big gap between them, but that was Roman. We want to plan things out. We were talking about that. And then, I told him, I said, son, I just want you to know that no matter what, I'll always back you up. So if you want to marry her, regardless of how I feel about her, I will back you up. He goes, what? I said, if you want to marry her, you don't have to elope or anything like that. I will always have your back. And he kind of laughed. And he was like, Mom, I'm not going to marry that girl. I don't want to be with her. I don't want to be with her. I said, well, I'm just letting you know, baby. He said, Mom, I don't want to be with her. I love you. I said, I love you too, son. He goes, Mom, you look so beautiful. And prior to that conversation, with my daughter Desiree, she had quit working full-time, started working part-time, and she started going to school again. She wanted to, get her degree. And her and her brother were talking, and Roman was talking about how he wanted to buy the house next door to my house. My daughter goes, brother, because they were best friends. Goes, brother, if you want, I will help you raise the baby. He goes, what? She goes, I will help you raise the baby. I will put school on hold, and I will go back to work full time, and I'll help you raise the baby, son, brother. And he was like, really? You would do that for me, sister? She's like, yeah. So he's like, oh, okay. So he had already started talking to the man who was selling the house next door. They were remodeling everything inside and out. So when it went live, they were going to let Roman know so Roman could be the first one to put in for the house. So Roman was happy, And then when they both went to work, they'd come drop the baby off to me next door, So Roman, he had everything mapped out. So we left the house at 6:30. Roman left the house at 6:40. Roman went down to the Good to Go, which is a 76 station that has a Subway in it. And he got himself a foot long, some food, something to drink, and came home. He was home by 7:03. We know this because of the cameras on the house, the security cameras. And at 7:53, my daughter Desiree receives a text message and says, hey sister, how are things going? Did Thea finally show up? Are you guys having a good time? And my daughter replies at 7:54, and it's just like, and please remember the time frames that I'm giving out. They're very important. Says at 7:54, yes, we're having a good time. Thea did show up. Hey, can you Zelle me $20? He's like, you know what? I'm gonna Zelle you 40 because I owe you 40. My daughter's like, okay. And then she received it, and then she messaged him at 7:58, and she never got a response back from him. At 8:15. No, wrong. At 8:13, I get a phone call from my son, Mark. I answer his mom. I was like, what? He goes, have you heard from Rome? I said, no. He goes, get to the house now. And I just knew it. So we all took off running. I don't even know if we paid our bill. We took off running to the cars. And the stepmom was walking. And we're in a panic. My sister's jumping in her car. My daughter Desiree's jumping in her car. And she gets in the car. She's like, you guys want to go hang out at my house? I was like, no, I need to get to my house. So then I'm like, Desiree, just go, 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 go. And my daughter, she's doing like 75 in a 45. And we're going, and the stepmom's in the back seat. And all I hear her say was, he's gone? And I knew she was talking about my son. So I called Mark, and I was like, Mark? He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, Roman. He goes, what's wrong, Roman? I said, Mark, please help me. Mark, please help me. Please help me. And he's like, I'll call you right back. Then I thought he was calling Mark. I'll call you right back. Then I thought he was calling Marky. But he was calling Roman. He called me back, and he's like, tell me what happened, Roman. I don't know. Marky just called me and told me, have you heard from Rome? And then he said, get to the house. And he was with his nephew, Nick. And he's like, I'm coming right now. And my son, Mark, remember the time frames? My son, Mark, at 8:11, received an unaliving text message from his brother saying that he was taking his own life and giving him all his worldly possessions. My son Mark and Roman, they both worked at Lucid, but Mark worked at Powertrain, which is about 15-20 minutes out of town. Roman worked at the closer one by our house. So my son Mark just happened to be in town that day at the Texas Roadhouse picking up lunch for his whole crew when he got this text message and took off running to his truck and started flying to the house. And he called 911, and 911 was asking him, are there any weapons? Does he have any weapons? And my son Mark said yes. And he's like, well, you can't go in the house because he might turn the weapon on you. And my son Mark said, I'd rather him do that to me than to do it to himself. So my son Mark beat the police here. And when he got into the house, he came in through the side door. And see, the way my house is, you come in through the side door, and it's a hallway, and then you come into the kitchen, and then you see my kitchen table. Roman was sitting against the wall where you couldn't see anything. And so Mark noticed that it was so dark in my house. So Roman had bought a 12 by 12 playpen, and it was in my living room. So to get to because Mark was trying to turn the lights on, and he couldn't find the light switch, so he went to the light switch by the door. So he had to walk around the 12 by 12 playpen to get to the front door. And for some reason, my lights weren't working in the living room. They were broken. They weren't broken before, but they were broken that day. And the only thing that was on was a TV and a George Strait song blasting really loud. So when my son Mark turned his light on to his iPhone, he turned around. The ex-girlfriend's dad was standing at my son Roman's body. And my son Mark started yelling at him. And he identified himself, said, I'm such and such's dad. I'm a first responder. And by that time, the light had already flashed on the wall behind Roman. And Mark said, there's nothing you can do for him now. Get the fuck out of the house. My son Mark threw him out of the house. Well, by that time, the cops had pulled up. So this person goes outside and he starts to control the whole situation because he knows all the cops. He knows all the EMTs. He knows the fire department people who pulled up. And my son Mark said that he walked up to his brother's body. And Roman had his right hand on the barrel of the firearm. And his left hand was across his stomach. When I got here, my daughter pulled in down the road. The house next door was empty, so she started to pull into that driveway, so I jumped off the car while the car was still going.
I don't know how I didn't fall, but I didn't fall, and I started running down the driveway. And the cops, they stopped me and they told me I couldn't go inside. And then I told them my son was in there, and that's when they told me they were sorry, but my son was unalive. And I fell to the ground. I even think I pissed on myself. I started screaming for my son. And my son Mark came and picked me up. And he sat me down on the brick wall in the neighbor's house next door. And then that's when Mark Sr. and his nephew Nick showed up. And he started asking, where's Roman? And I couldn't talk. And the police, he tried coming inside. The police told him no, because it's a crime scene. He couldn't enter the house because it was a crime scene. Never said that it was an unaliving of a self-inflicted unaliving. They told me it was a crime scene. And I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And I was begging my son to come back to me. And I was begging God to give back my baby. Because he was my baby and my 3 children. And I begged God to just give my son back. And I thought the louder I screamed for Roman, he'd hear me and he'd come back. And the ex-girlfriend never showed up. The dad was out here hugging the cops, and it's all in the body cam footage. This is not made up. We have the body cam footage. He was out here hugging the cops and high-fiving them and giving them side hugs, and so was the ex-wife, the stepmom. And I just thought that was so odd. Like, who does that at a time like this? But, I was too busy crying. Well, the coroner got here, and they allowed me and Mark to come inside and say goodbye to my son. And so Mark walked me inside, and they had Roman on a stretcher in the kitchen, covered. And I could see the outline of his nose and his lips. I could just see his face. And it just made no sense to us because we just didn't understand. Because at the time, we didn't have any of the facts. We didn't know what was going on. No one really gave us any information. So, when they released the house back to us, my cousin and my tío and my brother-in-law came into the house, and the first thing my cousin and my brother-in-law noticed was there was 2 cups. 2 cups in the living room, one filled with Jack Daniels to the rim, and the other one filled with Coke. And a Jack Daniels bottle was by where Roman's foot was, like it looked like Roman had been drinking. And my cousin was the first one to say that this looks like a setup. So they locked up the house. The next day, which was Saturday, one of my family members got in touch with the people to come clean up the house. And I had begged them to please, please, please save my couch because my son had just bought me that couch for my birthday. I didn't even have it a year. It was a sectional, a brown leather sectional. And I just wanted to sit one time where my son sat for his last time. So we're watching on the cameras them cleaning the house. We couldn't see inside, but we could see what they brought outside. And the cleaners called my tia and was like, when he unalived himself, was he laying down? And my tia was like, no, what are you talking about? Because the reports had said that he had unalived himself. And he was like, because where he was sitting But where we knew he was sitting, and there's another, and they found the body fluid in another section of the couch. And the only way he could have had all that fluid in that section, he either had to be sitting there or he had to be laying there, laying down, and unalived himself. And my aunt was like, no, no. So when Roman was found, he was found in the sitting position with his head tilted to the right of him. It looked like he was sleeping, but my son knew that he wasn't sleeping because of the blood that was falling from his beard. And his left hand arm was across his stomach. The right hand was holding the barrel. And the back of his skull was on the left part of his leg. But what surprised me is that there's 2 entry holes in my ceiling where it was pew pew twice into the ceiling. So those were the 2 shots, and then there was the first shot was a misfire, supposedly. And then there was 2 pew pews, and then a live round found in his hand, in his left hand. So someone who's going to unalive themselves is not going to pull that trigger 3 times. And then it wasn't even a pistol. It was a fire. It was a what do you call it? It was a MMP-15.
It was a long barrel.
Long, yes. It was a MMP-15, 39 inches long with 16-inch barrel on it, which Roman had modified. And so it was very bulky. And when Roman got custody of his son, when the baby started living with him, Roman's dad, he had bought him a pew-pew rack. Roman took the pew-pew rack down, put it away, separated the live ammo from the pew-pews, put the ammo in an ammo crate, and put his pew-pews in his closet, but not just anywhere in his closet, behind a dresser he had inside his closet. So the only way you would have known that these pew-pews were there, you had to have been in his room, because they weren't just lying around anywhere. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, let him know about the dogs.
Oh yeah,
His dog, please.
I'm getting there. So we have 4 dogs. About the time we had 4 dogs. Roman has a Molly, Alea, which is his daughter. Roman has a sign in his room that says, "I work hard so my dog lives a good life." We had a pit bull, which was my Alcaius, but he was so old. He was 16 years old. He didn't even have teeth anymore. And we had the Maltese and a 3-pound Yorkie. Roman's Molly was put away in his room. There's no way that dog would have let anybody hurt my son. Either somebody who that dog recognized was in this house, or they had to threaten his dog. That's the only way, because Alea would have ripped somebody's throat out trying to protect her baby, which was Roman. On top of that, I have a Pioneer Woman knife set, which is 4 knives. Every time Roman went to buy him a footlong sandwich, Roman would cut it in 4s. So there was a specific knife Roman always used. That knife is missing. That knife has been missing since that day. So I know Roman had to fought back, because the knife is gone. And how I know is because that morning I washed dishes and I put the knife on the knife block. On top of that, neighbors have come out and put her dad at our house before 7:30. But the police department, they didn't care. They didn't want to hear it. They have their narrative. Multiple neighbors even from another block, have said the same thing. They didn't care. They didn't want to hear it. They don't care. Apparently there was an unaliving voicemail that was sent out to the ex-girlfriend, which is like 5 minutes long. Terry and Nina had heard it. And Nina and Terry had both said you can tell that he was coached when he was reading a script. But it's crazy because that was sent out at 7:52. And remember, Roman texts his sister at 7:53. So how is he going to text this or make this long 5-minute voice message? It wasn't even from on the phone, it was on a Snapchat. Over 5 minutes. It go out at 7:52, send a happy text message to his sister at 7:53. And then send another unaliving text message to his brother. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, no sense to us. Like, none of it was adding up to us. And March 3rd. Let me go back to March 2nd. The house was released to us on March 2nd. Roman died March 1st. Me and my daughter came back and stood here at the house because I still felt like my son was here. I still feel like my son's here to this day. And so the next day, March 3rd, my sister and the ex-girlfriend's dad live in the same neighborhood. Like, he literally lives around the corner from my sister. In order for me to get to my sister's house, I have to see those people's houses. So I don't even go to my sister's house. And he goes to my sister's house. The dad shows up at my sister's house at 8 o'clock in the morning. My sister opens the door because at this time we still don't know. We still have no idea what's going on. And so my sister's on the phone. She opens the door. She waves him in. And she's like, what can I help you with? And he's like, I need to speak to Maria. And my sister goes, she's not here. He's like, well, where is she at? He said, well, she's at home. He's like, what do you mean she's at home? He's like, well, they released the house back to her yesterday. So he's like, is she went and stood there? She's like, yeah, she wants to be with her son. He walks into my sister's living room, sees my mom, my brother, and my sister-in-law. And he walks up to my mom. And he starts telling them, well, my daughter's a manipulator. She's a liar. She's just going to confuse Maria. She's going to tell her all these lies and blah, 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 blah. My mom's like, where's the baby? He's like, I don't know. She took the baby and ran off. My mom goes, so you don't know where the baby's at? He was like, no, she just took the baby and ran off. We don't know where the baby's at, which was a lie because the daughter was with the baby at the dad's mom's house. And he tells my mom that, he's seen Roman. And my mom's like, you see my grandson? And he's like, yeah. And he says, how did he die? And he tells my mom that it was with the pew-pew. And he makes a pew-pew with his fingers and his thumb, puts it underneath his chin, and pulls the trigger with his thumb, says that Roman blew off all the right side of his face, that he was unrecognizable. My mom, just the image alone, starts screaming and crying, falls to the ground. And which was a lie, because we had an open casket for our family. Roman's face was still beautiful. Swollen, but beautiful. His whole face was there. What kind of person goes and says that to a grieving grandmother who just lost her grandson? A sick individual. So then I call the ex-girlfriend, and I'm crying, and she's like, hello? I'm like, so-and-so? She's like, yeah. I'm like, she's like, what's wrong? Why are you crying? What's wrong, Maria? Why are you crying? What's going on? And I was just like, what do you mean what's going on? Do you not know about Roman? She goes, well, my dad did say that he got hurt, but you were at the hospital with him, but, he should be all right. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? Roman is gone. He died. She starts screaming and crying, and then asks, do you think I could have his dog, Alea? I said, what? She's like, do you think I could have Alea? Because I know Alea meant a lot to me. I said, hell no, you're not going to get my son's dog. And In the unaliving text message that was sent to my son Mark at 8:11, all Roman's possessions were left to my son Mark, except Alea. No mention of Alea. But the ex-girlfriend asked for Alea. So we just started thinking about everything, and it just didn't make any sense to us. And so I contacted Mayhem Investigations, which is another private investigation firm here in Casa Grande. And they started investigating Roman's death. They found that Roman, that night, March 1st, was followed to the Good to Go by two individuals from the same club that the girl's father belonged to. They followed him around the store. Roman had no clue. And followed him when he left. They didn't buy anything. PD didn't care. Said, well, maybe they live in that direction. No, because that club is not allowed in this town. This town belongs to another club. So those people shouldn't have been in this town, not flying their colors. So we held my son's body for 22 days. Because I wanted to make sure that the toxicology report and GSR testing was done on Roman. And I called the medical examiner's office. I'm not even lying. I harassed them 3-4 times a day. Every day they were open, I was calling them and calling them and calling them. And they said, yes, we did the GSR test. You did the toxicology? Yeah. Because they were seeing that Roman was drunk out of his mind. Roman wasn't drunk. Roman had a speech impediment because when Roman was 9 years old, he had cancer. And it had grown on the speech part of his brain. So it had to be removed. So Roman had to learn to speak all over again. So when Roman spoke, he didn't speak like us, like we speak regularly. Roman would always stop and think about what he was going to say before he said it because he had to enunciate his words. So us as humans, we speak anywhere from 2 to 250 words per minute. Roman spoke 100 to 150 words per minute. And he had speech therapy all the way from elementary school until the day he graduated ASU Preparatory Academy in high school. So we held on to his body for 22 days, and that medical examiner's office guaranteed me that they did all these tests. Finally, I said, okay, I wasn't ready to let my baby be put in the ground by himself. So Mark honored what I wanted, and we had him cremated. Come to find out, they never did a test on Roman. Medical examiner's office did not do a test on him because, according to them, the PD said that he unalived himself, so they didn't need to do any testing. And the PD says, no, we don't tell the medical examiner's office how to do their job. So they started pointing fingers at each other. When I finally got the medical examiner's report, that's how I found out that none of the tests that were necessary that we needed to prove the fact that my son did not take his life. It had that he unalived himself at 8:38. So I called the medical examiner's office. I was like, are you telling me that my son could have been saved? And they said no. The reason why that's the time of death is called at that time is because that's when the doctor comes in and calls time of death. I said, okay, so by rigor mortis, what time did my son pass away? He said, well, all I could tell you is that he was gone before 8 o'clock. So if Roman was gone before 8 o'clock, who sent the text message to his brother at 8:11? Nothing started adding up. Nothing. The ex-girlfriend. So, like I said, 5-minute unaliving voicemail left on Snapchat for the ex-girlfriend. So we'll say 7:52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. I'll be generous. 8, 1, 2. I'll give you to 8:02. She starts calling my daughter's phone at 8:07. And my daughter's like, what do you want, so-and-so? She's like, have you heard from Roman? Because he's not answering my phone calls. She's not crying. She's not panicking, nothing. Does not tell my daughter about the unaliving voicemail that she supposedly received from my son. Remember, she received it, and I know this because I have access to everything, my son. She received it at 7:52. And she starts calling my daughter between, Desiree, how many times did she call her between 8:05 and 8:07?
8:14.
How many times?
4 or 5 times.
She called my daughter like 4 or 5 times. So my daughter finally did answer because my daughter couldn't stand her. We said she's a whore because she is. Not once did she even mention this voicemail. Not once did she mention this voicemail to my daughter that she received this voicemail from my son threatening to unalive himself. She just said, hey, have you talked to Roman? Because he's not answering my phone calls. So we started looking at the timeline. The dad tells the police department, the cop outside, and it's on the police report. I just want everybody to know, a police report, Castle Grande PD, you can get the police report. It's public record. It is a public record. Her dad tells the PD he entered this house with my son Mark, which was a lie. We looked on the cameras. That man is not anywhere entering or exiting my house. It only shows my son Mark. On the police report, he tells the cop that Roman was such a good person, a loving person. Roman would have never taken his own life. That it's his daughter. His daughter did this. His daughter unalived my son. It's in the police report. He even tells the cop his daughter's diagnosis bipolar 1. But you think the cops did anything about it? Nope. And it's on record. It's also on the body cam footage. He walks up to the cop and tells the cop, my daughter's the reason why this happened to this young man. What can we have done to her? He starts blaming the daughter right away. But the neighbors across the street have a daughter who was outside, and he didn't realize that the daughter was outside and he was on the phone across the street. Because see, when my son Mark finally exited our house, the dad was talking to the police and he's wailing, oh my God, I can't believe he's gone. Oh my God, my daughter did this. My daughter unalived him. My daughter unalived him. My son Mark tells him, shut him up before I do. So the cop tells him to be quiet. So he crosses the street. Excuse me. He crosses the street, gets on his phone and calls someone and tells that person, Roman's dead. Roman's gone. And him and his daughter unalive my son. Because there's witnesses that heard the conversation and reported it. Another witness heard him telling his wife out here, he unalived my son. And he's telling his wife out here that, and not realizing that neighbor who lives on a different block, these neighbors don't even know each other. This is a completely different neighbor, is listening to them. And the wife grabs him by his shirt and is like, you did not stop saying that. He's like, no, I did it. I did it. And when they realized that the neighbor was listening to him, he says, stop talking, stop talking. And then they walk up to me and tell me they're leaving. And they left. This man, this narcissist, tells his daughter to take the baby because I'm sending the police after her to go into hiding with the baby. I didn't give a damn about the baby, about his daughter, nobody that night. My baby was gone, and I didn't understand why. So he sends the daughter into hiding and lies to my mom and says, that we don't know. She just took the baby. She took off with me. We don't know where the baby's at. So all these things started coming out. My son's gone before 8 o'clock, according to the medical examiner's office. They didn't do the GSR test on him. They didn't do a toxicology report to see if Roman was even drunk like they said he was. So how would they know Roman was drunk? You know, and the first investigation team, private investigators, the PD was putting up walls. Wouldn't work with them, would not work with them, would not work with them. You know, and we weren't getting anywhere. So me and my daughter Marissa, my niece, we're like, we have to take it to social media. And we sat down with Mark, you know, because Mark's obviously very protective of our son. And took a little convincing, but he finally agreed. And I think we had maybe like not even 75 followers at that time on this platform. And Nina found me. She found my son. And then she introduced me to Terry Levin. And she tried to debunk my story and everything. She did everything she could. I got her everything she needed. Measurements and everything. And she couldn't. She couldn't. So she took on my son's case. We had a state police officer come and look at the inside of the house. And state police officer even told me I could tell you where the person laid down on the carpet and shot him. Because see, the bullet holes should have went into the wall behind Roman. They're straight up in the ceiling. And Roman's body should have fell forward. He would have never landed on the couch in a sitting position. And of the caliber of the firearm, that kick was strong. So that even pulling the trigger, it would have kicked out and it would have landed on the carpet. And it didn't. It landed in between his legs. You know, and Roman was righty and lefty. So on the medical examiner's report, it said that the trajectile of the bullet was straight. It didn't lean slightly to the right or slightly to the left. It exited straight. Well, straight. Well, if Roman, being righty and lefty, if he would have pulled the trigger himself with his right hand, the barrel would have leaned slightly to the left and vice versa. There's no way the trajectile would have been straight for the exit wound. And I hounded the PD. And they gave us the runaround. My sister called, Mark called, I called, my niece Marissa went, Nina contacted them. And all they did was just give us the runaround, around and round and round. Made excuses. They wouldn't work with us. You know, and this dad, I've never mentioned the names of those people that did this to my son. But the first time he threatened me, he had a lawyer call me and tell me that they were going to slap me with a defamation lawsuit, a defamation of character. I said, oh, really? Defamation of character, huh? And he was like, yeah. I said, well, just do it. I said, because did your client tell you? I've never once mentioned his pathetic name or that of anybody in his family. He was like, what? I said, yeah. I've never once mentioned his name. So it kind of sounds to me like he has a guilty conscience. Because his name has never been mentioned in anything. He's like, I didn't know that. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you didn't. So that was the first time. I have been followed. I've had threats come to my phone. I say, let him come. Let him come. Because if anything happened to me, everybody's going to know exactly who did it.
And then we got the body cam footage. Boy, did the body cam footage tell a lot. The body cam footage has proven there's no way my son could have done this to himself. But also in that body cam footage, this individual, the father, goes to the PD. And I don't even think this was supposed to be part of the body cam footage, but they added it to our body cam footage that we have. Goes to the PD. 2 police officers come out. And he starts telling them, you need to have something done to her. I need this to stop. And then I don't know if hand signals or anything were given, but then his whole demeanor changed. And he starts trembling and crying, saying that I'm going to destroy his reputation and his I'm going to unalive his family, and he's scared of me. They're scared for their lives. I'm going to ruin his career. And the 2 police officers are like, well, what has she done? And he shows them one of the posts that we have on one of the Justice for Roman Robles pages. And they're like, but she's not threatening you. She doesn't even mention you. And they tell him there's nothing we can do for you. We can't help you do anything. The only thing you can do is possibly go to the county court and get a restraining order against her. But then you have to prove that she's threatening you and your family. And he's trembling and crying, and it's all for the camera, you know? And it's just been, you know, March 1st will be a whole year since my son's been gone. I'm still stuck on March 1st, 2024, the day my son left this world. I left with him. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I feel. I've never moved forward. My son didn't deserve this. I wish I could be like, my son was a jerk, or he was this, or I could never say that about my son. My son was so good, so loving, so caring, so pure. And he deserves justice, you know? And when Nina was still with us, you know, there was a lot of things that were happening, and a lot of things are going to still continue to happen, especially with Terry and Leo working together with the support, you know, along with Munchie and the support of Dan, you know, to continue the fight for Roman, you know. But Nina would always tell me, you know, there's no way, Maria. She's like, I don't understand that sergeant or that police department. And I would tell her, I know. But see, I didn't grow up in this town. I'm not from here. I was born and raised in California. And the town we lived in is like a smaller town, and everybody here grew up with each other. So we were told, Mark Sr. and myself, we were both told that they're all going to cover for each other. They're all going to cover for each other.
Hey, Maria.
Yeah.
They're asking in the chat about the baby. Would you like to inform them about the baby?
So, turns out the baby wasn't Roman's. Roman passed away March 1st. That whore had another person in court trying to figure out if he was the father March 28th. Roman wasn't even gone a whole month. They knew this. This family, let me tell you, this family knew this. And Mark Sr. was like, Maria, I don't feel like he's my grandson. Like, I don't feel like he was our son's. Can we at least get a DNA test? Like, an actual DNA test, not like a home one. I said, yeah. So we paid $2,600 for the lawyer and the DNA, the private DNA, with LabCorp. We petitioned for it in April. They didn't take the baby until July because they were going to be held in contempt. We found out
We found out July 12th, Roman was not the father. So that means that my son, 3 months, it only took them 3 months to kill my son. They entered his life, and within 3 months, they took my son's life. You know, and that we know of, she still hasn't found the baby's father yet. The baby's a year and a half now. I think since Roman's been gone, she's had 8 or 9 different boyfriends. You know? And I'm not gonna lie, we loved that baby. We loved him so much, and we still do. You know, and I still look at the videos of Roman being a father. Roman was an amazing father. Roman was an amazing dad. That's the only thing I'm thankful for, is that I got to see my son be a father. You know, and everything. He got everything for his son. Everything was Ariat, because Roman were nothing but Ariat. But to make sure that we didn't have access to the baby, they started testing different guys in March, the same month they had taken my son's life. We haven't seen the baby since March 1st of 2024. The stepmom, she has sent pictures to my daughter's phone. My daughter was the only one that hadn't blocked her. She just sent pictures of the baby to my daughter's phone. And it's just too much, and I had to ask my daughter to block her.
Mary, you want to take a break and breathe a little bit, honey?
Yeah.
Let me
You guys
take it.
are-
Okay. You guys, if you don't mind, follow the Justice for Roman page, please. This is, as you can see, that we need to open this case back up. The proof is all in the body cams. That's another reason we came today, is to ask you guys to help us raise money so that we can get the lawyers that we need for this family. You guys can see, I see you in the chat. You guys know what they have done is wrong. Roman did not deserve to die. This mother deserved to have her son. And I'm going to carry out Nina's legacy. I'm going to make sure that justice is for Roman and his family. Yes, if you will run the hashtag Justin on your Facebook post, if you run the Justice for Roman on your page, Maria, do you have the GoFundMe already set up?
Marissa, is the GoFundMe set up, Marissa? Marissa's in the comments.
Marissa, you down there, honey?
She's handling that. Marissa, you want to come up in the box real fast?
If somebody can bring her up, you haven't done it yet. Okay. We need to get that done because we're going to need 2 different kind of attorneys. Oh, sorry, Dan. Go ahead, honey.
This is why Nina was asking me about getting a hold of retired law enforcement. A week before
Yes.
she passed, that was the question she asked me. And I reached out to Moses. I'm going to reach out to the crime solver, Danny Miner. He's a retired detective out of Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. But we're definitely going to get justice for Roman and for his family. As you heard the story, it's heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. No one should ever lose their child. Only 3 months into this young man's life, in the relationship, 3 months. It only took him 3 months to do this. So we're going to get justice for him, but we're going to need the internet help because they're going to need 2 different attorneys. That's why we need help. Like I said, you need to go to the Justice Roman page. You have it on Facebook and TikTok, right, Maria?
Yes. We have Justice for Roman Robles on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
if you'll go and follow all those pages, my heart breaks for her. But we're going to make sure she gets justice. This young man is not going to die in vain. He's going to get justice. Those people who harmed him, took him away from his family, even for that small child, we're going to get justice for him. And I'm sure Rosa will get the page up so we can get donations, so that we can do what we need to do. If you guys have any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll make sure Maria can see if Maria can answer any of them for you. I saw some questions going on when she was talking. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat.
Maria,
Now,
I
keep
had to
in
leave.
mind,
Go ahead.
law enforcement is basically trying to say that Roman took his own life with a toe.
Right.
They're trying to say he pulled the pew-pew trigger with his foot.
No way he did that. No way.
No, ain't no way.
Ain't no way. We have all the body cam. We have everything. And we know who did this.
I had to leave for a little bit. Did you guys talk about what the police didn't do? What they were supposed to do? Or can that be talked about?
As far as what?
GSR.
No, I did. I shared that. That they
Okay.
did.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I had to leave. I had an urgent call. Okay.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do it with your toe. There's no way possible. You
No,
have to remember this is a major big long.
and see, the
Pew-pew.
thing is, they're trying to. See, I've talked to Nina a little bit about this, not too much because of it being involved in her team. And I've been in her live streams. With this being a long barrel and the positioning of this, it's humanly impossible. No, no one has been.
It would have definitely kicked back. Sorry, Dan. It would have definitely kicked back.
Seeing the questions about why the dad was there.
We don't know. So when my son Mark, like I said, my son Mark he was at Texas Roadhouse. He was still in his work uniform. So he had a reflective vest on. When he was at the front door messing with the light, her dad, never once let my son know he was even in the house. My son didn't see him until he turned around. So her dad, let's say hypothetically, if her dad entered after my son, he would have seen my son because of his reflective vest. And the TV was still on. So there was light from the TV. He never once announced himself. So I'm wondering, was he going to hurt my other son too?
And somehow.
Maria, you have to also let them know that there was things cut off.
Yes.
The one at the door,
Oh,
the
yeah.
light in the house.
We have.
So there was a lot of electricity messed with.
So my living room light was broken. Odd. Because it worked. My friend, I have a Ring door camera and a security camera, two different security cameras in the front yard. Somebody punched the Ring door camera. Security camera in the front no longer worked. My security camera in the back no longer worked, but they all worked earlier that day. The only one that worked was the side door camera. And he told the police that he entered this house with my son Mark. And my son Mark said, that is absolutely a lie. He did not enter that house with me. And other neighbors have come out and said, the only person that was out there was my son Mark. They seen him enter the house. There was nobody with him when he entered the house. And when my son threw him out of the house, The camera doesn't even show him exiting the house. So the first investigation team said that he used a Raspberry Pi in his PI. What that does is anything that runs off Wi-Fi, it'll throw everything out. It'll stop it. It'll drop it from being used. That's
And,
why he wasn't picked up on the cameras.
and the neighborhood footage, the neighbors, their cameras, they didn't get anything, did they?
No, none of the, and it's weird. The neighbors, their cameras didn't work either. But my neighbor came across the street. She tells me, Maria, and she told the PD that she goes, that man's lying. She said, I just had my baby. I made a late dinner for my family. The baby was fussy. Mark, that's her husband's name, Mark, moved the rocking chair in front of the window. And I pulled the curtain back. She goes, I seen when Roman left. And I seen when he returned. She goes, and I was sitting there rocking the baby because the baby was fussy after I fed my family. Like, and I seen that father. He was there at the house with Roman before 7:30. She goes, she described the father's car. Hold on, I had a cough. She described the father's car, the style of the car, the make of the car, and the color. The color is very odd color, not a regular car color. She said he was wearing light blue jean shorts, Nike sneakers, and a Hawaiian style button-up shirt with glasses. And he looks like he's white. And he's about 6'1", 6'2", a little on the heavier side. I said, yeah. So one of the Roman's watch went missing, and an Ariat hat that he was wearing is missing. And he has both of them on because we got the last photos of Roman when he came back home at 7:03. He has a hat on, he has his watch on, but they're nowhere here in the house. So I called Detective Garcia, and I was like, blah, 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 I want my son's stuff, did you guys record it? So I was on the phone with Detective Garcia for about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, because we were looking at everything, all the body cam footage, while I was on the phone. And he says, no, Maria, he's like, from the body cam footage, I can see he doesn't have a hat on or a watch on. I said, on my security camera, you can see his hat and his watch. He's wearing it when he's entering the house. He's like, well, it's not on here, and it wasn't recorded in the medical examiner's documents or in our documents.
Maria, can you tell them what relationship he is to one of the officers? I mean, aren't they really good friends?
Which one?
One of the detectives or police officers are really good friends with him?
Well, yeah, that was Sergeant Matt McCabe. He's really good friends with her dad. He's the one that kept my son's case closed, because Detective Garcia told me that it would be up to Sergeant Matt McCabe to reopen it, and he's not going to reopen it. He's the only one that can reopen Roman's case, and that's her dad's buddy. He's the one that, according to her father, got her out of trouble for falsely accusing someone of raping her and for sending out nudes to men, because one of the men, they filed charges against her because she was a minor when she did it. So he took care of those charges for her. Supposedly, according to the father, he took care of those charges for them. But when we're going through this body cam footage, Detective Garcia asked me, what was the father wearing? Describe what he's wearing. So I described exactly what I said. Light blue jean shorts, sneakers, and a Hawaiian style button-up shirt. He goes, no. From what I see here, Maria, he's wearing dark jean shorts and a green t-shirt. So why did the dad go change? Why did he go change?
One in the chat wants to know what did it say on his death certificate? What was the cause of death?
Self-inflicted. Unaliving.
And there was evidence in that house. They did not take it.
Nope.
They didn't take the bottle,
Nope.
the cup. They didn't fingerprint anything.
And then
So
Roman's iPhone was wiped out all the way back to August of 2023. So anything that had information about them was gone. So somebody wiped out his iPhone.
Now, when you say wiped out, did somebody do a factory reset?
Desiree, was it factory reset to August 2023? Yes.
Okay, so law enforcement can still access anything and everything that was ever on that phone.
Yeah, but they won't.
Not going to. They're friends with him. They're covering it up. They're not going to. So we're going to have to go above and beyond to do what we need to do.
You guys still have the phone though, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I still have it. I still have it on. I've never turned it off. I even saved the Jack Daniels bottle. I've
And,
saved it.
and everything you did with a glove, right?
No, from the tip. I never touched the glass. I just touched the tip where it is.
Okay.
Because at the time I didn't know. You know,
No, you.
I saved everything. You know, so a lot of people have asked me like, well, if Roman didn't, how do you know Roman didn't send Mark that suicide? Underlying text message. You know, they had all those passwords and login. I said, well, because Roman is always forgetting his login and password. So I told him, baby, write down everything so you don't forget them. And all the login and the passwords to everything were written down on papers that were on top of his desk. You know, and then when we were told that he was gone before 8 p.m., there's no way he sent my son that at 8:11. Who sent it? You know? It's just been like, I don't know. It's like, it's frustrating for a big market.
The chat is already saying about the dad and the baby.
Oh yeah, we kind of thought that too. You know, we Roman. You know, I don't think Roman realized. Hold on. You know, I don't think Roman realized what kind of person she was. Even like when we met her, she was like, "No, ma'am, yes, ma'am," and we're just like, nobody talks like that. Nobody does. You know, even when Sean from Mayhem contacted them, the father wouldn't let him talk to the daughter on her own. He was coaching the daughter on everything. Me and my daughter, we heard. We listened to everything. And all she could say was, Maria just calls me a whore. I said, hell yeah, I did. You are nothing but a whore. You know, she thought that, like, she could seduce my son. And my son would tell her, like, you're more than what's between your legs. That's not what I want you for. She would try and send Roman, like, all these seductive pictures and stuff. And Roman would tell her, like, that's not what I want. Like, you know, that's not what I'm about. You know, and he would tell me, you know, the way she was, and his mom, she even tried telling me that she was allergic to condoms. I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He's like, but I didn't fall for any of that, Mom. You know, and Roman was smart. I wish he had been a little bit smarter about, you know, when he brought into his life, but it is what it is. I can't fault him for having a good heart. You know, but Roman was amazing. Roman was amazing. Roman was just amazing. And they took his life for no reason. They took his life for no reason. There was no reason to take his life. The only thing Roman was guilty of was loving that little boy and trying to give him the best life he possibly could.
He was not that I've never met him while he was here, but what I have watched and looking at his pictures, he's an amazing young man. An amazing young man. Any man that would step up and do what he's done for this baby and for her and for the family on that side, he's just an amazing young man. And he deserves justice, and that's why we're here tonight. We're here to get him the justice that he deserves. We're reaching out to do whatever we can to help her. We're going to get him justice. There are people that need to go to jail for what happened to this young man. He never needed to lose his life for this boy was doing nothing but loving people. Loving people. It's just wrong.
No, the baby is with them. The baby's not somewhere safe.
And the police department, they're covering it up. They dropped the ball. They covered it up. And we have to bring light to this case. We have to get justice. We're going to get justice.
Marissa, can you finish up the GoFundMe so we can put it up in on his page on TikTok today?
Hey, when we get down here, we gotta have a chat,
Okay.
including Munchie and Cherry. I know Aaliyah's busy.
Okay, Dan.
So there's a lot of things that Nina had got started. She has shared with Terry that pertain to Roman's case that we can't share right now. We have to wait for Terry and Aaliyah, Nina's daughter, to get together to discuss some things that Terry wants to move forward with because, you know, Nina had already started those processes. There are other news organizations. We're not going to say which ones, but there are news organizations that are interested in this case. Again, anything that about the case always goes to Search and Rescue San Antonio, Texas. So there are things in the works for Roman's case. We're just being very hush hush and how we have the green light to be able to share those things with everybody. You know, because if there wasn't something wrong with this case, those news organizations would not be interested in his case at all. And they're national news organizations. Terry has people behind the scenes looking into a few things for her. And of course, you know, we all want justice like now, but it's like an onion. This case is like an onion. There's so many layers, you know, and it's delicate and we have to handle it with care. Yeah, so, but it's not at a standstill. And maybe it's at a standstill with this police department, but as far as the investigation team, it's not at a standstill. Munchie, do you have anything to add?
Do you have that video of Roman driving the Bronco on your profile page or on your TikTok?
Yes, it's on my profile, which is Maria. It's Maria _ Monica, and then under Justice for Roman Robles.
Because when I watch that video, you can see how that Roman has just such an amazing soul. You can see it. And that video, when you put that up, that just broke my heart. But because you can see how sweet he was. You can see that he had a heart just in that video.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, we're only a half an hour apart, and I so wish I would have met him. I really do.
Yeah.
Someone in chat's asking how old the baby is.
Yeah, I was just
The
gonna.
baby's a year and a half now.
Wow.
When this happened to Roman, the baby was 6 months old.
Make sure you remember to go and follow her page on TikTok and Facebook. I think you said it. Do you have it on IG?
Yes, and IG
Instagram?
also. Yes.
On every platform. Please go and follow the Justice for Roman Robles, please, so you can keep up what's going on. And we definitely will need your prayers and we need help donations to help. We have to get 2 attorneys and open this case wide open, and we're going to do it. We're going to march right through it, and we're going to do it.
Mandy, there's no way we could take the baby in on our own. He has proven that Roman's not the father. Does anybody
Have any
else?
more questions for Maria? Please put them in the chat. I know she's not feeling up to par, and I know this is probably pretty hard on her right now. So, guys, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Yes, people are saying you need to go after the police department. Yeah, ASAP, you're right. Our first priority is to get this case open. Maria's Mark here?
Mark, are you in the chat, Mark? Marissa, is your Theo Mark in the chat?
Know if he wanted to say something. Hold on. So in the 3 months they were together, is that when the baby was? I'm confused. I guess she's asking if it was his. No, it wasn't his.
What's his name on TikTok?
Who's?
Mark.
Mark.
Oh, it's just Mark?
Yep, Mark.
Okay.
Want to know what made Roman believe it was hers?
Because, well, we were told that they took a home DNA test and it came out positive. He told the same thing to my sister. Sophia, are you in the chat, Sophia? You know, he told my sister the same thing. And, okay, there's my sister. Sophia, when did Roman tell you he took the DNA test, sister? Because he had a talk with my sister, and he told my sister he didn't want to be with the mother no more, because he wasn't happy with her. You know, and
Have you guys talked to the district attorney?
no one here in this state is going to reopen or look at this case until we have some real proof. They have fought us every step of the way. We were advised by the sheriff's office to go outside because all they're going to do is cover for each other.
Put it under the rug. This kind of cases, you have to go out of state to bring in a lawyer from out of state. Actually, she's going to need to. Because they screwed them under the rug, and the other officers will not break on for the other office. They just don't do that. So we have to go out of state to bring another attorney in.
Maria, is Moses able to come in?
I sent him a an invite, but
No, I mean,
to look at the case.
yeah,
Yes,
because he works for a law firm.
I know. I know Nina had told me that she was going to get with you on that.
Yeah, we spoke. That's okay. So, a few days before she passed, that's what we were talking about. And Moses was here in Oklahoma, so I wasn't able to reach him in time because tragically we lost Nina.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you have his contact information?
Just on through TikTok. He has my number though. He does have
Where's
my
your number?
he has my phone number because that's when I was trying to get a hold of you.
Oh yeah, he sent me text messages. That's right. Um, I have his phone number and his email address. I will reach out to him when we get off here,
Okay.
and it's okay just to make sure he really has it and didn't lose it. I'm gonna go ahead and send him your phone number again,
Okay.
just to make sure he didn't lose it.
Okay. Yeah, because I know she really wanted him involved because since he is a retired homicide detective. Okay, I'm gonna repeat this again. Nobody will look at this case in the state of Arizona because it is considered an unaliving. That's why we had to get private investigators involved.
Yeah.
I know I sound frustrated, but I keep answering the same question. Nobody in the state of Arizona at this time is willing to look at this case because of what the PD here in this town said he said that he unalived himself. That's why we had to look for private investigators. And we got the first ones, and then Nina found me. And her and Terry and Dan have all started looking. Well, Nina was looking to it along with Terry. I know that she shared information with Dan. We all knew that we would have to go outside, possibly as a state, in order to get eyes on this and to get put pressure on the PD to reopen. On the PD to reopen.
So for the ones talking about the cameras, all the cameras were mysteriously down. Very strange, I might add. And the only thing that can cause so many cameras to go down is a signal jammer. I find that very, very strange. And yet he's a friend with a law enforcement officer. And with a law enforcement officer, those individuals have access to those.
No, Amy, that's not true. With the findings from the PI, the U.S. District Attorney can reopen. We need more proof to that. You got to remember, it's a PD and a medical examiner's office that both have messed up. Everything that you're stating, we've already tried. We even had state police come in, the state police officer come in.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're not able to get another autopsy done. Now, does anybody have any other questions so we can let Maria rest her voice? She's sick. Yes, Twisted.
So the only thing we could have done now is the toxicology report. That's it. They never did the GSR test on him, but they said that they did. And that's the one test we really needed done.
Now, how would they be? They wouldn't be able to do the toxicology.
Because they have his DNA on file.
Oh, they still kept all of. Okay, okay.
Yeah. I have to put the extension. You know, I went and they haven't gotten back to me yet. So March 1st will be they'll destroy his DNA. They keep it on file for a year, but I've been trying to get an extension on it.
Okay, so Carrie, a GSR is a pew pew residue test.
And they assured us multiple times that they did that. And then come to find out they never did it.
So that's why we need to get this case open as soon as possible, because that clock is running out.
Triple, it happens quite frequently when it comes to self-unaliving outcomes by the medical examiner. We had a case out of Indiana that had the same scenario where the body camera footage and everything like that proved that it wasn't self-done. But unfortunately, they did not do that test. That should be a mandatory test.
I was just going to say that.
Yes.
Well, excuse me, I'm sorry. In the medical examiner's report, it states that they bagged his hands for GSR testing. His hands were bagged for GSR testing. And they never performed the GSR test.
I'm going to tell you why they didn't perform that test. Because they knew there wouldn't be nothing on it.
Yep.
Exactly. Thing of it is, the body cam tells it all.
It always tells it all, and that's what they don't realize. And the thing is, body camera footage is public record. Any of you young ladies have anything else to say before we can let Maria rest up a little bit?
You guys keep an eye out. Please follow her page. Keep your eye out. We will have a GoFundMe to help with the lawyer costs to get this reopened. So please follow her page, and please keep an eye out for that. And we really would appreciate you guys helping in any way you can. And we really appreciate you guys being here today. I want to thank Dan Samad for the amazing job they did. Thank you, Dan, as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
Yes, thank you, Dan. And thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Marissa and Sophia, for answering questions.
We know in 2 hours, 6,000 people seen this story. So,
Wow.
So, again, Roman's pages are Justice, the number 4, Roman Robles, on TikTok, IG, and Facebook. For me, it's no, my TikTok page.
Carrie, can you set up a link tree for Maria so that way she can put all of her links in the link tree?
Figure it out.
It's free. You don't have to pay for nothing, and it'll make it so much easier for people to find all of everything. You can even put the GF link in it too.
Okay. And I'm sorry if I sound rude. I have been so sick, everybody, and I appreciate you all, but I'm so sick right now.
See what happens when you get your hair dyed?
Oh my gosh. It didn't even
Hey.
take. I had to do it. It didn't even
Hey.
take. I had to do it. I had to do another process. I had to do another process.
Tell me your head was under there that whole time and it didn't take?
No, because my
What the
hair,
world?
my daughter's like, your hair is so stubborn, you know, because I have really thick hair. But before it used to take, but like now I don't know. It just wants to stay black.
See, I dyed my hair.
I'm sure you did, Dan. That blonde
Fell
was real
out.
good on you.
I did.
Maria,
I
it fell out.
dyed it skin tone. And it came out perfect. It matches my skin tone.
There you go.
So, guys, listen. Follow that top box. That's Justin for Roman Robles. And until she gets the link tree set up, I will put the Facebook and Instagram in my link tree. So that way it's easier for you guys to find until she gets a link tree set up.
And my personal is its_Maria_Monica. And you'll see that's on Facebook and TikTok. You'll see Roman's face on our cover photos. It says, you know, Justice for Roman Robles.
So, Moki's magical moments. I am going to reach out to Justin after this, but I need to talk to these three ladies before I do anything.
Again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Marissa, for answering questions. Dan, your hospitality. Munchie, Terry. I don't know what I'd do without you guys. And
We got you back.
Terry, can you send us off with a prayer for Roman and Nina, please?
Yes. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight for everything that's going on in the world today. We ask you, Lord, to just pray for the families that are going through this right now, for Nina's family, for Roman's family. Give us the strength to walk through this, to lift this case up to you, Father, and we get justice. Lord, I just want to thank you for everything that you have already done. I just want to praise you and glorify your name. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
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 Thank you, Terry.
Welcome, honey.
All right, y'all.
We can't thank you enough, Dan.
Oh, you don't have to thank me. This is about Roman.
Yeah.
I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Ladies, I will get a hold of you because I do need to speak with you about the question that was in the chat.
Okay.
Okay. All right,
All right.
guys.
All right, good night.
Y'all have
Good
a
night.
wonderful night.
You too.
Talk to you in a minute, Maria.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.